Alright, boys and girls, what's cracking? It's your one and only Tusky87, aka Joe Daddy, back in the spot one more time with y'all again with another instructional how-to video. Today, if you haven't read the title, we're going to be talking about how to sync up your carburetor. This will be done on a 2001 R6. Again, these are carburetors, so I didn't start the fuel injection until later on. I think 2003 is when they started that. But yeah, so without further ado, we're going to get into this video. Some of the things that you'll need is this. You'll need a toolkit with all the applicable tools required to remove the seat in the fuel tank so that you can access the actual carburetors themselves. I would recommend a light so that you can see better as you're working and maneuvering. Of course, you'll need your carburetor tuning kit. I opted for the vacuum sealed dial type just so that, get a little bit better reading, if you will. Well, it's not better, but it's reliable. It's a reliable reading. And then also, of course, an instruction manual. Again, if you're using a 2001 R6 version, this will be in chapter 13. Page 15 of that chapter, where it begins to talk about synchronizing the carburetors. One thing to note before you actually start syncing the cars, you want to make sure that the timing and make sure that your idle adjustment is proper. Your idle should be, I think it's anywhere between 1250 to 1330 RPM. So just something to know. Again, the manual will tell you all these different things. Again, before you even start this job, when you get your actual carburetor sync kit, make sure that you have your instructions with you. It's going to tell you actually how to use this device and everything. The good thing about this is that they come from the factory, tuned and everything, pre-synchronized, if you will, or not synchronized is the word, but pre-adjusted accordingly, so you don't have to go back and attach it and do the whole readjusting process and everything, because it's already done from the factory. But there are instructions in here that tell you how to go about readjusting it should any of these dials be off, if you will. Again, just make sure you have all of your particular tools, all of your connecting types before you actually start this process, so that once you begin, you won't have a oh crap moment. When you lift up the actual dial plate itself, you should have 4 hoses up under here that you will use to connect to the sink itself, and then to your vacuum hoses on your bike. Again, what the instructions don't really tell you about when you're actually assembling this is that you need 2 little separate hoses. So you already saw that there were 4 different hoses in there. However, you're going to have to cut a piece off of each of those hoses so that you have a piece that connects here, then another piece that connects to your valve or your sinking tool, and then another piece, or the longer rest of the piece, to connect to the other end of this to go into your carburetor itself. And you'll see what I'm talking about later once I get everything all set up and situated. Alright, so we're going to begin to disassemble the motorcycle so that we can actually access the parts that we need to get to. What you'll need is pretty much hex screw, pretty much, it's not a screw, but you know what I mean, a hex attachment, the number 5 attachment, and what you'll do is you actually have 2 hex screws that are here and here. Of course, my bike only has 1. I lost it somewhere. I don't know, I forgot how I lost it, but I only have 1. Still good enough. The motorcycle rides, right? So we're going to go ahead, pull back this piece here, and we're actually going to unscrew there. Then we're going to come back up under here and do the same thing. Alright, so I just unscrewed my hex screw here. I'm just going to lift up the seat, and this portion is just for anybody who's never disassembled their motorcycle before. Just kind of know what you're looking at when you get to that point. And apparently my hooks are in the way of preventing the daggone thing from coming out. Alright, so we'll set this off to the side. Alright, so now you can see this other hex screw that I was talking about. But before you remove this, you actually need to come up top and remove the 2 hex bolts here. So again, it's just a simple turn, rotation, shouldn't be that hard to loosen them. Come back over here, twist them out. Forgive me if the camera's shaking a little bit. I'm trying to disassemble with one hand and shoot video and footage with the other. So so please be patient. Now there's two options you can do. I've done this before when I have had to replace my spark plugs, and I think I was adjusting something else like the fuel air mixture. But you can opt to take the entire fuel tank out itself, or you can leave that attached and pretty much just lift up the tank and just grab it here, lift it up, and thereby exposing everything else underneath. So I'm going to prop this up, just kind of show you how I do, show you some things that you should be mindful for and looking at when you prop this through. And then we'll proceed from there. We'll start off at a different angle. Alright, boys and girls, so we're back. I have the tank propped up with the vacuum hose tube. You can use whatever you want to. If you don't want to go about taking the whole tank off, removing the vent hoses, removing the fuel filter, and all these other hoses, I just prop mine up. It's just less things to do. If you've never been up under here before, most carbureted bikes have a fuel valve to prevent the fuel from flowing into the engine. And normally for this motorcycle, the fuel valve is actually right here, right up under the tank. So right now it's switched in the on position to allow fuel to flow throughout the motorcycle. Obviously this is your fuel filter here, and then this is your fuel tank or fuel tank capacity, or however you want to call that harness. I forgot the technical term for it, but pretty much that's the connector that tells your motorcycle that, hey, you're low on fuel. As we come down here to look closer, as far as changing your, or not changing, but synchronizing your carburetors via the vacuum type, you actually have your hoses here. So I'm going to try to point these out to you just so you can get a good look at them. But you have it's technically 4 hoses, but they're connected to one another. So you have one hose that's sitting right here, and you can tell that these are your vacuum hoses. One, because there's an aluminum piece right here that connects the 2 rubber hoses together. Now these don't allow air to flow between one another. This is just one solid piece. There's no drilled hole in the middle. There's a clamp right here that pretty much keeps these hoses connected together. Alright, so as I was saying, you got 2 hoses here connected together by one aluminum piece. It's one solid piece, so that no air flows in between those, so that you don't have off timing. Then you have another hose down here up under it that is also connected by the same setup. If you look at these 2 clips here, these will let you know or help you readily identify what your vacuum hoses are for the synchronization itself. So one thing you want to know is that when you are syncing your carburetors, you want to sync when they're connected together, carburetor 1 is connected to carburetor 3, and carburetor 2 is connected to carburetor 4. So if you want to run this line out to figure out which direction, which tube is connected to, so that when you hook it up to your synchronizer, you know which cylinder you have, all you want to do is just run it back, and from left to right is cylinders 1 through 4 pretty much. Again, if you look through your manual, it will tell you what cylinder is, what the firing order is, and how to go about using all of those different things. So that is that piece. Once I go ahead and move some of this stuff out of the way, because you'll need to move some of these hoses out of the way. The reason why I keep my fuel tank connected instead of what some people do is just taking it all the way off, even though it gives you easier access. I didn't feel like going to go find a bottle that I'm not going to use anymore to put gasoline in it to hold it up so that my engine can keep running. So I'm just going to do it this way, leave the gas tank connected, because once you disconnect your hose from the actual reservoir tank or the reserve tank, you're going to have some fuel leaking out of your fuel filter, and that's going to cause a mess, and your hands are going to start smelling like gas, and then you're going to need preparation H and X lax to get rid of the smell. Just kidding. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and set you up for that, and we'll be back momentarily.